to the wise men. The wise men get kind of a short deal on this. We kind of talk about them in passing, and that's kind of where it ends. But there's really a lot to that story as we think about it. And anybody that's taken a long trip understands that. Try taking that long trip on a camel. And a lot. And I know those folks are used to it, but they are mean, ugly. They're just not friendly animals at all. When I was over in Saudi, that was the big thing. Get a ride on a camel. Well, forget that. I'll stick to horses, and we'll do it that way. But the wise men do play an important role. And sometimes I think we've kind of, like I say, given them the short end of the stick and just say, yep, they showed up and they gave him gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and that's kind of it, and it's done and over with. There's a lot to it. And so that's what we're going to look at this morning. On Christmas Eve, we'll look at the shepherd story. And like I keep saying, that's my favorite part, because that means he came to me, he came to us. So this morning, we're going to be looking at Matthew. If I can get spun around here, right? Matthew chapter 2, and we're going to use the NIV. So the first two verses say, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him. Now, I did not know that Magi was a plural word. Did you know that? Not that it makes a bit of difference. It was still the Magi that came to see him. It's actually, Magus is a singular person. As a matter of fact, we hear about a Magus in Acts chapter 8. Simon Magus, a sorcerer who tried to buy spiritual powers from the apostles. If you look at a definition for the Magi or Magus, it says that it's a magician, a sorcerer, or an astrologer. They studied. They looked. We don't know for sure. I mean, we talk about they followed the star. They studied and they had all these prophecies and all these different things. And we're not sure if they actually followed the star from the entire time, or whether they got to the Bethlehem area and realized that it was supposed to be there, and they saw the star and wanted to know, where was this person? Because we often think about them all traveling together, don't we? There's a possibility, and I don't know how much of this you'll be able to see. Very little of it, as a matter of fact. But there's actually 3 lines here. 2 at the top, 1 coming up from Yemen. All of those would be east. And so there's a possibility that the 3 Magi came from 3 different areas. Would also make the reason why they brought 3 different gifts.
Right.
That's quite a ways. Let me tell you. No matter which way you go, it's quite a ways, because here's Jerusalem, almost in the middle of all of it. So, let me show you another one here. It pops up. When they came to Jerusalem, and they're talking to Herod, Bethlehem is right there. Bethlehem's like 8 miles away. It's really close. So as Herod is learning more about this, we're going to see in a minute, that kind of really panics him, because that's in his backyard.
Right.
It's okay if it's way over there someplace, and he's some little podunk town, and nobody cares about him, but here it's in his backyard, just 8 miles away. I mean, that's not even a day's walk. I mean, that's just a short walk, right? So he says that you can see that Bethany and Jerusalem were very close, almost 8 miles. to get the full effect of what's happened, I want us to back up and look at the journey that Mary and Joseph made, and just so you can fully understand the distances here. Mary and Joseph started off up here, and they came down to Bethlehem, close to 100 miles on a donkey, pregnant woman. I didn't drive any place with Joni when she was pregnant. Let alone put her on a donkey. She's scared the death out of me, that's why. You know, we went to the base to do laundry one day. And Joni's going to take a shortcut. And none of our children were small like Taylor. All of them were close to 10 pounds. And Joni's almost due. And she slides down this hill. Bam! I get upset. Pick her up. She's laughing up a storm. I didn't think it was very funny. Especially when she did it the second time. Bam! Joseph must have had great patience. Granted, Mary probably did a lot of walking. 100 miles is a long ways to go. And they didn't move at lightning fast speeds, did they?
Nope.
Wow. So I just want to give you just kind of an idea. Just we talk about that, and so now if we start thinking about the Magi, they came from great distances. And we talk about that in a second. We talk about 2 years. That may have been how long they were actually moving. Wow. 2 years on a camel. After Jesus was born, just repeating what we've already said, in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem. And they asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." Just so you kind of get an idea. This is Herod the Great. This is who we're talking about. Guy had a major complex. He was determined his family was going to stay on the throne, so this threat was just that. It was a threat. Even though the Magi were just saying, we're coming to worship this person. We're coming to worship this man, this babe. Herod had part of his family murdered. Just to make sure that he could stay exactly where he's at. Nice guys. Nice guys. So, verse 3. When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. All Jerusalem, you figure about Jerusalem is pretty much the scribes and pretty much all the chief priests and all the folks that would bow down to Herod. So Herod's in a panic because he's heard through the grapevine first that there is a child that has been born, and now he's got the Magi asking him these questions. And it says, when he had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. In Bethlehem, in Judea, they replied, for this is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people, Israel. See, Herod hears from this network of people, like I said, that the Magi are looking. I mean, it's just like the Magi were very intelligent people, so when they got there, they started asking directions. Unlike most guys I know, we don't ask directions for anything.
I know what that.
That's why I love GPS. I just plug that in and act like I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Except when it doesn't work, right? I'm Gary. The report of the birth of a royal figure is very disturbing to Herod. He had his own plans for the royal ascension A parallel state of unrest for all Jerusalem is less evident, but is going to happen. Because as he gets more upset and starts yelling and chewing out all of his people, his closest, his entourage there, of course that kind of snowballs and runs downhill, and before long the entire Jerusalem is all in a panic because this person has been born, this king of the Jews. And we already have a king, which already upset them. Because they did not elect this king. Rome did.
That's right.
Wow. Rome elected Herod and was keeping him in power. Because Herod would do whatever Rome wanted him to do. But this new Jewish king, that was going to be something else. This quote comes from Micah. And here's actually what Micah says. Let me get there. But you, Bethlehem, Ephrathah, and I never can say that right. Though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from of old, from ancient times. How ancient? From the beginning of the world. Wow. Wow. Can't get much more ancient than that, can you? Verse 7. Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. We think, we read that, is that the Magi came and asked Herod that question, where is this new king of the Jews? And actually that was just a question they were asking in the town. Where does Jim and Joni live? Well, they live over there. Don't go by the street signs because you'll never figure it out. But Herod's people got back to him and said, hey, there's some strangers in town. They've been on a camel for a long time. They look really, really bad. And they're asking about this new king, this new king of the Jews. And so Herod has already called his people together to find out. I love already having answers when people come to me, don't you? Well, I hate being put on the spot. My boys do that to me all the time. They used to do it with friends, bring friends over. Hey, Dad, can such and such eat with us? We aren't going to eat tonight, son. So he'd already asked them, where is this child supposed to be? He found out the exact time the star had appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and he said, go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me, so that I too may go and worship him. What did we say? It was 8 miles away. Bethlehem is an extremely small town.
That's right.
Extremely small town. The need to search or inquire is preempted by the star. So now they see the star that's come to rest over the place where the Savior is. Star is becoming a guiding star now. In the present form, the story of the Magi clearly don't need the star to direct them to Bethlehem. They can figure that out. They can plug that into their GPS and on they go. Smack the camel on top of the head. It's necessary role to reduce to identifying the place of the residence of the child. And the star was exactly overhead. Wow. As a guide. Verse 9. After they had heard the king, they went on their way, the Magi. And the star they had seen, when it rose, went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. And when they saw the star, they were overjoyed.
That's right.
Kind of like seeing the clouds part and the sun come out, isn't it? They were overjoyed. On coming into the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down, they worshipped him, and they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. Isn't it funny that Joseph is not even mentioned here? Joseph is a fantastic role. And there are so many fathers that fall into that same role as Joseph. Just take a back seat. Take a back seat. Because Joni's going to do what Joni's going to do. It doesn't make any difference. As a father, it's always good to be there and not be in our kids' face all the time, but know that, and they know that they can come to you when they need to. Our Heavenly Father isn't in our face all the time, but it sure is nice to know that He's there when I need to go to Him. He's always there. I mean, there were times that I know when I went out with my dad would take me out walking in the woods when I was real young, and he'd send me out ahead, and just in a panic, bears were going to eat me alive, in our backyard, and he'd be 5 steps behind me. Our Savior's even closer than that.
Amen.
He's right here, beside me. So that no matter where we're at, He is there. It's a perfect. He is the perfect example of a parent.
That's right.
Perfect example. Wow. And so we don't hear about Joseph until it's time to take the family to Egypt. And then we hear about him when they come back. We hear about him when they misplaced Jesus. Everybody's caravanning back, and yet they can't find him. And Jesus is in the temple teaching.
12 years old.
At 12 years old. Joseph was a great parent, and I think we don't give him enough recognition either. Back to the Magi. They presented frankincense, which was a luxury import. The rosin from a tree which grew in Arabia, India, and Somalia. I had some. I've got some in the house. I planned on bringing it today, and I couldn't find it. All I could find was myrrh. Myrrh doesn't really have a lot of a scent to it. It's more of an oil. It's anointing oil.
That's right.
Frankincense is really powerful. Very luxury. It was a luxury item. Myrrh similarly was taken from the tree in Arabia and Ethiopia. The resins had a wide range of uses, from ritual in a cultic practice and in magic. It was also used in wedding ceremonies. It was used for cosmetics. It was used as medicine. It was used to calm the stomach. I can't imagine drinking either one, but they did. In the Old Testament, we hear about gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but never all three together. So we'll hear about gold and frankincense, or gold and myrrh, or frankincense and myrrh, but we don't hear about the three of them together. That's why it's really thought that the Magi came from 3 different locales. Does that make a difference? Nope, not one bit. Not one bit of difference, other than the fact that they had to travel a long ways.
That's right.
Because we're told, and we're not going to get into it, but when Herod realizes that the Magi left without coming back to him, what does he do? He sends out an order to kill every child, 2 and under, every boy.
Wow.
That's how much he wanted to stay in control of his kingdom. So Joseph takes his family to Egypt. Here's the escape route. And I know it's really hard to see that too. So he comes down here to Egypt. I believe he went back to the green line back up to Nazareth. Our God is a God of protection, and we don't give him enough credit.
Amen to that. That's right.
We tend to think things like, oh, I was good there. I avoided something. through the grace of God.
That's right.
Well, that was a coincidence. Did you, I don't believe in coincidences.
Not in the morning.
My God sends angels, and sometimes we get to see them, sometimes we don't.
That's right.
In this case, he sent an angel to Joseph and told him to take his family and flee to Egypt. And I can't imagine Joseph's heart when he heard of all the killing that was going on back in Bethlehem. We never think about that. We see it in the movies, I mean, real quick, you know. We see the guards running in and taking children, and that's it. But you ever noticed how Satan tries to kill us off that way?
That's right.
Wasn't Moses supposed to have been killed?
That's right.
Wow. It's amazing the God that we have, that he loves us so much that he continues to provide for us.
That's right.
That he sent the babe, and that he sent a man named Joseph, who listened to him. Now, I'm not one to argue with angels either. Magi, 2 years traveling. The baby Jesus, close to 2 years now. And God protects. And God provides. People that kill children. That's bothering me. I have a hard time with.
Amen.
I think of abortions, and I understand there are sometimes that is medically a reason it has to happen, and I understand that. But I also know that I am one that I'm glad that my mother did not choose abortion. And I'm glad her mother did not choose abortion. And in both cases, neither one was married. And at that time, that was the common practice. 2 steps, I couldn't have been here. Had my grandmother aborted my mother, had my mother aborted me.
For the grace of God.
That's it. Definitely through the grace of God. The protection. We need to protect kids in any way that we can. It's a
Amen.
far stretch from the Magi, but I think the Magi were coming for more than just to worship the King. I think their story is a powerful story, that we should do anything that we can do to be in God's house. You know, step on
That's right.
toes there, huh? Sometimes we know it's not going to happen. But man alive, 2 years on a camel. Just to see Jesus. Just to be in his presence. I know we can be in his presence any place where we're at, but guess what? In this presence here, with this company of believers,
Right.
wow.
You got it right.
The amens, the hand raising, the things that happen just in the song service. That you encourage one another. You build one another up. You have to have that. Every effort to get there. Every effort to get there. If you have to buy a camel, hey, do it. They'll survive in this weather. But be seeking Jesus. And I encourage you to not ask the question, are you ready? But to ask the question, how are you worshiping Jesus this Christmas? I encourage you. Wise men are tough. There's not a whole lot there, not a whole lot we know. But the story is very important. The story is very important. Because if Herod had found out that there was a king of the Jews without the wise men showing up, what would have happened? And our God is our God. God does what God wants to do. But yeah, what if Jesus was still in Bethlehem? Thursday. Sorry. 24th. Wednesday?
Wednesdays for caroling.
No. Thursday.
Thursdays.
The message of the shepherds.
Yes.
And the angels. I encourage you to be here for that. Because that one gets me. Oh, man. That one gets me. Why don't you stand and we'll close and get out of here.